So this past weekend, despite saying I wasn't going to go out pick-upping for quite some time, I went out pick-upping. Yes, myself and my good friend John, formerly known as Retro Kit, decided to do a few local independents round by us. And I had to go out anyway because I've got to pop into Dana's shop and pick something up. So we did a few local independent retailers, and yes, I bought some stuff, which is great. Now, if you're a fan, I think I see a bit of an ironic thing going on here because I'm wearing a Sinclair Spectrum t-shirt. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about Amstrad CPC. There's been a bit of a contradiction in terms there. I should probably have worn a Commodore hat, in fact. No, I can't reach it from there anyway. Don't talk about that one. So today I am the Amstradalorian. That makes any sense. Actually, even more ironically, because I've got a cup of coffee with a Spectrum bug on it as well. So I'm really rubbing it in, aren't I? So I went to Vintage Gamer, and we're doing some rummaging out the back. And all of a sudden, I find this box of stuff, and I'm starting digging through it, and I find this case. If you watch the podcast on Sunday, you know what I'm talking about. And I thought, I wonder what's in there. So I opened it up and I was like, oh, that's rather good, isn't it? So, yeah, that's where the story starts. This is what I got. And you can see it's quite battered. I have given it a good tidy up, but it's a bit dusty. Also, it's been sitting somewhere for a very, very long time. It's been kept dry. I mean, all that in there was caked with dust, to give you an idea. It still is, actually. And it's just been kept in a very, very dry place. These stickers were on there, hands off it says, which I think is very, very appropriate. And, you know, they haven't peeled off and they've still got their sticky on them. So they're not, you know, it's not damp or anything like that. It needs a good clean up, really. I might keep the case for other purposes, I don't know. So I found it out of the back and I started going through it and I thought, oh blimey, there's some good stuff in here. So I went and got a price like you do. And I'm not going to reveal the price because it's one of these things where you negotiate. Go to these places and negotiate if you can do. Don't take the piss, but you know, negotiate a little bit. So we went through. I mean, Nick he's brilliant. We spent 20 to 25 minutes going through all this together. And we sort of made a pile. He said, well, you know, that's worth that retail. Those there will be that. And he said, these here I can't work out at all. There's 24 games in here. I think we've got about 9 games we couldn't identify a price on. So he said, well, I know I can get those for that. He told me what he paid for them. I had a figure in mind about what it was. And because this pile of stuff here was just sat there, he said, look, if you're prepared to take a risk, I'm prepared to take a risk. So I might be losing out here. I said, I might be getting, you know, you might be getting these at an inflated price. And I felt there was enough in here to pay what I wanted to pay, plus the bonus of not knowing what these other things were. So I'm not going to reveal what I paid for it because, you know, it's a bit personal. And obviously I did give Nick my word that he said if he found out any of these were, you know, quite rare or whatever, that I wouldn't sell them on. Well, I'm not going to do that. I mean, am I going to sell anything on? Do I ever sell anything on? No. So there we go. So let's have a look inside. I was going to get the old brothel cloth out, but I thought, no, I'll do it this way. There we go. So I'll just give you a quick. So there we go. So that's what we got in here. We got 2 rows of 12. And yeah, there's a real mixture of stuff in here as well. Now, of course, if you're into your 8-bit stuff, then you're going to know what we're going to be coming across in here. And I can immediately hear people screaming, "Are we collecting them again?" No, I'm not. But I've been doing my research. I've been doing my research on Amstrad, which is really interesting. I started watching a few videos, particularly a channel called Classic Replay. There's loads of Amstrad videos. And I know there's loads of other people do it. Novabug does it. He's the biggest one probably, I think, of anybody who does Amstrad videos. But I thought, cool, this guy, he's based in the West Midlands somewhere anyway. He does other stuff as well. And I had a look at it, I thought, oh, there's some good games on there. And he's going through all the you know, his recommended best games for the Amstrad. And there were quite a few games on that list that are in here. So in a way, I've also got some good ones. I bought a few games from a week before at Amstrad, which were all budget titles. There's Continental Circus in there as well. And they were £1 each. and some of them were average titles, some looked very good. This, I think, I wouldn't say it's all 100% gold, but I think probably about 90% of it is pretty good. And why Amstrad? Well, have I got an Amstrad? Yes, I have got an Amstrad. I have got an Amstrad. I didn't do a big unveiling for the Amstrad. The Amstrad actually went into a short video last summer. And I've got an Amstrad, and I've got the modulator with it, which means you don't need to plug it into a monitor, thank goodness, because I ain't got any idea where I put a monitor, so I can plug this straight in the telly. I've also bought one of the little black devices, which I can't remember the life it's named for. It's a silly sounding name, but you can do that using your mobile phone, be able to play, you know, download games via your phone and play it through like you know, the connection, mobile connection. So don't necessarily need these, but you know me, I like to do things proper. So I've got the 464. And he's had a few teething issues. Mrs. Bear's had to have a go at it, and I say go at it, she's repaired it. Don't say having a go at things, it makes sound like I don't know what I'm doing. She's done a go at it. She's repaired it, it's tested it working absolutely fine. We run a few games off it, it seems absolutely great. But she did try to do something with the keys and the keyboard, it didn't quite come out as it should have done, but anyway. So I haven't got an Amstrad to play this on, so I haven't got many games for it. I picked them up in a trade probably about 18 months ago. I bought Game Set and Match, which is a compilation for it back in November, and I bought 4 or 5 games. First games I've actually physically bought for it last week, and these are the second lot. So should we go through them? Shall we have a look? Be a good idea. When's it going to sit in me waffling on? So we've got, I'll break them into sections. The first 3 I'm going to do are sort of very vague labels, then we're going to go into sort of labels and software houses, and then we're going to get into everything else. So let's pull the first one up. Now this also was on the list. 101 Amstrad games you must play before you die. Not 101. Was it 101? I can't remember. Anyway, Amstrad games you must play before you die. And this is Xenon. Cue the glare. Xenon. Now, most of you probably would have heard of Xenon 2, which is not one of my favourite shoot 'em ups. This is the first one. And this is the re-release. This isn't the full price original. This is the re-release on Amstrad. I will try and show you some screenshots, because as you know, with these sort of games, you don't get an awful lot to look at the back. But there we go. So it's a vertical scrolling shooter. And yeah, so I thought that was a good one to have. Now I've checked all these tapes. Again, if you are buying tapes, little tip for you, always make sure you have a look at the tape. Get the tape out, just check for any slack on there. Also, just check for any white mould. Yeah, these tapes can go off. So always check the bottom to make sure everything's fine as it should be. Always check the clear plastic bit there in the middle, that bit there. And just check the tape to make sure there's no mould on there, because although that isn't a problem, it's a massive problem, it is going to be a problem, because if you start running it through your machines, your roller's going to get clogged up with mould, it's going to jam everything up, you're going to need servicing and cleaning it out, and it might actually ruin it completely. Also, signs of mould on there, signs that they haven't been stored very well. Chances are could be some damp in there, the games may not work properly. So what you may have here is, you know, expensive ornaments. So little things to look for on like that if you are new to tape games. Oh, just go back in there. Yeah. Also, as well, it's also worth noting that if you look at some of these tape cases, for example, that isn't the original tape case, because if you look at the back, you'll see there's 2 holes in there, and that's designed for a tape box where you've got pins in the back which will stick to the holes, you see. So again, some of these may need case replacement. I know there's one definitely, which I think is the next one, is going to need a case replacement because it's knackered. But anyway, so that's Xenon. Now this one's quite a common game. I know it's quite common because I think I've probably got it on the 64 and the Spectrum. This block is absolutely trashed. This is Cave Mania from Atlantis. You can see what I mean, a giant crack across the front there. You can just see going, there we go, giant crack there. If you're lucky, I think actually there's bits missing off this box as well. Can you see there? Damage the cracks there and there. Yeah, not a great one. That's the back of it. I mean, a lot of people already see these sort of things. But yeah, so it looks like a platformer anyway. Very common game to get. And it came as a budget game, originally $3.99. Like, you know, Xenon was a re-release. A lot of these are actually re-release titles, so it's interesting. Now this one I've never even heard of before, and this cost $3.99 originally. It says so. This is Sword of the Samurai. Now it's from Zeppelin Games. So I remember Zeppelin. They came quite 86, 87 to the Commodore 64. I'm not sure if they were a German developer or not. I don't know. Probably not. No, they weren't. Just said made in the UK. I'll get Zeppelins. Oh dear. Sorry, apologise for that. Generalising Zeppelins with Germans. But they came to software quite like that. These were a couple of really, really good side-scrolling shoot-em-ups. I think Zynaps and Zybex were on the Commodore 64. One of those won a Zap Silver Medal, budget title. But generally speaking, they didn't produce great games. They had a few games on the Amiga. There was a wrestling one. There was World Soccer and World Cricket, and they're all terrible. I think it was designed to be a cricket management simulator, wasn't it? Before Cricket Captain became something. So there's some screenshots, which you're not going to be able to see properly. But take that, maybe take that makes it better. It won't make any better with it now. But there we go. So there we go. And this one, the samurai are a noble breed of martial arts warriors armed with an array of deadly weapons. Their mission is to locate and rescue innocent hostages from a ruthless gang of renegade ninjas. Yes, the ninjas are at it again. Featuring accurate samurai weaponry. Now, how are you going to be able... I don't know. Magical ninjas, holy mountain, shurikens, throwing knives, crossbow ninja sorcerers. Oh, it's always important to have those in there, isn't it? Can you imagine that? Imagine the uproar. They've got no crossbow ninja sorcerers, isn't it? Ruthless hostage guards, mystic temples, loads of hostage scenarios. Not just hostage scenarios, but loads of them. Can you imagine that? And many, many more. But it's games like that you know nothing about. Just coming across the first time. So I'm looking forward to playing that. But those are the three anomalies which came out there, which aren't sort of tied in the group. The next ones, these are Encore budget label. Now Encore was Elite Systems. They did Commando, Commercial Commando, Frank Bruno's Boxing, Airwolf, the 1942-1943 game. So they were a very, very prestigious software house. Certainly one of the, you know, people think about Ocean, US Gold, Elite were right up there with the very, very best of them. Two games here on for this system. One which is, again, I don't know a great deal about. I'll show you that one first. And this is Hopping Mad, Bouncing Madness, as it says there. You could call it either, really, I suppose. And again, this is a game of the 14 colourful backdrops ranging from the desert, forest, even space. Smooth, horizontally scrolling bounce action. Oh dear. Totally addictive, fun gameplay. There we go. Elite were actually based in Walsall, up here in the West Midlands. It's quite interesting. How do I know that? Because I've just read it at the bottom. Yeah, up in Aldridge, on the old Anchor Road. So there we go. So that was, I'm not sure whether that was a full price or a budget title. I don't know. This one I know was a budget full price title. Now, some people may correct me if I'm wrong on this one, but a lot of people like the original, this game. Probably more the arcade than the home version, because the home versions weren't great conversions. I'm not sure if this was a direct to computer sequel, because there were a few of those knocking around. It was also a Gallup #1. Now, for those of you who are not going to talk about Gallup, who actually used to run the charts, gaming charts, so this is one of them. It's Bombjack 2, which is a game I've never played. I do own it on the Spectrum. And I did try, it's actually one of the first games I tried to play on my +2 without realising I needed the joystick interface, because my quick shot joystick wouldn't work with it. So, there it is, Bombjack 2. An absorbing sequel to the classic coin-op at Bombjack. All the excitement of the original plus an intriguing puzzle element. Action all the way. And there we go. And the idea is you're meant to diffuse a screen full of bombs, little bombs, and you're meant to diffuse them in order to maximise your score, while avoiding the enemies around there. The first one gets talked about an awful lot. I'm not sure how many people rate the second one. Probably not a great deal. So there we go. So Bombjack 2. So there we go. So that's Elite sorted out. So we go. We've done Elite, and we've done the anomalies. So yeah, there we go. So I'm just trying to work out where that is. There. Right. So what we got next? So Codemasters. Now, Codemasters are synonymous with the budget labels. So many of their games they released like $1.99, $2.99. Went on to sell bucket loads. The most famous series was Dizzy, but yeah, I think anything with the word simulator in it. BMX simulator, ATV simulator, SAS combat simulator, simulator, loads of them. Towards the end, they had a lot of platform games as well, some sports games and all sorts. So we got 2 games from that one here, for that label here. First one here is Turbo the Tortoise, which got us rollicking 94% in Your Sinclair magazine. Now I'm not sure if I may have this on a Commodore 64. I don't know. Again, it's a wrong case, and what's happened there is you can see that there's been some damage. Someone's poked that through the wrong case, so that is definitely not the right one. A lot of these tend to be for older games. The clearer plastic ones, both sides, tend to be for the more modern ones. You won't want to put it back in its box until you've completed it. Well worth shelling out for. Those are the words of Zap magazine. So you also got a great review on Your Sinclair. Zap gave good words about it. 6 multi-load mega levels. That's not good. If you know what I mean, that multi-load, that means it loads in stages of the game, which is annoying because if you die, you have to rewind the tape back to where you were, and it's always annoying. But there we go, some screenshots about there. Turbo the Tortoise. So yeah, nice to find that one. Again, I think that was on that list as well, if I remember correctly. So yeah, Turbo the Tortoise. Now, I mentioned most popular character that Codemasters ever came up with was the Egg, Dizzy himself. So we got a Dizzy game in here, which is good because I don't think I've got a Dizzy game for the Amstrad. In fact, no, I haven't got a Dizzy game for the Amstrad. And the one I've got picked up here is Magic Land Dizzy. And again, a Crash Smash, 93%. So again, high scoring game back in the day. In the right case, I'm glad to say. Dizzy's cartoon adventure in Magic Land. Experience Weird Henge, Prince Charming's Castle, Vampires, Ice Palace, Wicked Witch's Island, and jump through the Magic Mirror. Find Excalibur, wake Sleeping Beauty, and more. Starring all the Oak folk in the latest incredible tale, also in Italian. So there we go. Dizzy games were notoriously difficult because they were puzzle games where you have to walk somewhere, pick something up, and then take it somewhere else, drop it, and then pick something else. Infuriating beyond belief, but they were so cheap, they sold by the bucket load. And they got some full price games later on as well, so that's it. So there we go, we're 7 games in, and we've done that. Now, Kixx label. What about Kixx? Kixx were US Gold's budget label, but not necessarily, as we will find with these, their games. They tended probably, I think, Rainbow Arts would have got onto there as well, and a couple of others as well. We'll see with some of the ones later on as well, different sort of software houses. Now, Kixx, they're actually 3 different coloured labels, which I didn't realise. Oh, it's a minefield collecting these things. It really is. Most of the Kixx games I got for the Commodore 64, I think like a pinkish label on the side of them. They're also orange, and there's also red and yellow, and there's also black or dark blue. So what we've got here, we've got orange, we've got red and yellow, and we've got dark blue. And dark blue, I think, are the later ones, and therefore they are a bit more collectible, I understand. Not so rarer, just a bit more collectible. Let's do the orange ones first, because I'd never even heard of this game. An original and exclusive product. And this is Titanic. Now, I've got a Titanic game on the Wii, but I don't need anything to do with this. I'm going to have a real trouble reading that out. I need a magnifying glass. The icy waters of the Northern Atlantic, etc., etc. So I'm guessing you'll sort of put on the Titanic. It's from a company called Topsoft, who I've never even heard of before. But it looks like it's some sort of underwater sea nautical type adventure. Obviously, it's called Titanic, so that looks. But I've never even heard of that before, so I thought, well, I'd pick that one up. I don't think, actually, in all honesty, it's that rare. I think it's one of these games we sort of decided wasn't overly rare. But yeah, but I was quite surprised at that one. Next one was an arcade conversion. Got fairly ropey conversions, in all honesty. I think there was a version of the Mega Drive which made probably the best conversion of all, but a lot of people remember it. It's definitely one from that arcade era, back in the late 80s, mid-late 80s, Rolling Thunder. And the idea, you're some sort of police detective type person with limited ammunition, and you have to go around shooting these hooded guards who look like colourful versions of the Ku Klux Klan. Let's be honest with you, they do. And they come out they come out of doors, or they're just walking around. You shoot them, but you obviously got to replenish your ammunition, so you need to go into all these doors and get extra ammo. And it's quite complicated. I only briefly played it ever. I must be. It's not a game I've actually sat down and played a huge amount. But you know, Zap64 said it provided a good deal of blasting action. The Amstrad Rolling Thunder is entertaining and challenging. That was the games machine. An astonishingly faithful conversion of the Namco coin-op Sinclair user. So all three 8-bit systems magazines gave it a good review. I don't think it was favourably received. I think a lot of people felt it was a bit disappointing at the time. But yeah, I don't think I got the full price version of it knocking around on any of my other systems. But Rolling Thunder anyway, so I'm happy to have those. I think that might be possibly the first copy I've got of it in my collection. But I need to go through these and the other one, and the Spectrum and the 64, see where I've got crossover. Let's move on to one of the more colourful Kixx label covers. And this again is a shoot 'em up, a side-scrolling shoot 'em up, which I had a demo of on the Amiga, but I don't think I ever actually upgraded to get the full version. But it was really good fun, and it was by Rainbow Arts. Now, Rainbow Arts at the time didn't have a great reputation, but they hit a real purple patch. They had this one, they had the sequel, which was Z Out. They had the Turrican games. And there were a couple of others as well. Grand Monster Slam, I think, on the Amiga. You may have heard of that one before. Great little sort of, I guess it's a sports game as such, but it's not a sports game. So it's really weird. But I had a little purple patch after some real crap games. So what we've got here is Z Out. That cover there, great cover art on that. Fantastic stuff, isn't it? It's what you like to see. And like I said, this is a side-scrolling CMVG hit. 90% on the Amiga. The games machine on the Commodore 64 gave it a good rating. Sinclair user gave it 90%. So again, it's a very highly regarded game. It's nice to see. Again, you can see on the back there's three different sort of screenshots. 2 Commodore 64s and a Spectrum. So you get a bit of a short change if you're an Amstrad owner. You're not quite sure what's going to happen. But again, that was on that list of those Amstrad games you must play before you die. And then we got some blue label ones, and these were quite interesting because I had heard that some of these blue ones were quite hard to pick up. So I was quite surprised to get this one. This one, sadly, again, is the wrong case, and I've never played this. I don't think I've got the I haven't. I've got the original, but I haven't got the sequel. I don't think the sequel's meant to be any good, but I've got Strider 2. Now you can see that's the blue label there. You can see so. It's a real minefield. You want to start collecting colour-coding your games by label. This is really difficult, but yeah, Strider 2. So I don't think, like I said, I don't think this was particularly well thought of in terms of the sequel. I think it may again be one of these direct-to-home computer console conversions. This was a US Gold one as well. Because they did all the big Capcom arcade games back in the day. But yeah, so again, I've not played that, but that's nice to have that. I don't think I've got Strider on any of the 8-bit games. I know I've got it on the Master System, but I certainly haven't got any of the other ones. I have to try and keep a copy of that. And then finally, this one, oh my goodness, mate, again on that list of games you've got to play before you die. This game and its prequel were absolutely brutal in terms of difficulty level. But you just kept going back, frustrating, yes, difficult, yes, but you kept going back and playing. And they look brilliant. I've seen this running on the Amstrad. It is superb. It looks brilliant. The Amstrad has a problem, if you don't know it, that some of the graphics can look quite blocky, and they also can be incredibly colourful. If you compare it to a Spectrum where you're basically dealing with a limited number of colours, and then everybody says the Commodore 64 looks brown and purple. It does a bit. And green. The Amstrad really sort of flares because it probably looks the best, but some of it's very garish colours, and I think the graphics can be a little on the blocky side. And when you're playing games like this, it can be quite difficult to see what's going on. I was watching a video of Grisor the other day, or Contra, as some people may know it, and that was like, I was watching it thinking, I'd struggle playing this because I can't work out what the background is, what's shooting at me. Anyway, the game I'm talking about is Rick Dangerous 2. Now, I have this on Commodore 64 cartridge, of all things, along with a couple of other games. I think I've got the first one somewhere as well. But they were brutal platforms, but they absolutely, they are so good. Again, you can tell because they've got such good rating, 94% in Commodore format, 97% on Amstrad Action, 92% Your Sinclair. These are just the 8-bit ones. You may just better see the graphics on the back. You may not be able to, I don't know. But yeah, just quality platforming game. Flick screen, you move from one screen to the other, and you've got to get from that side to that side, or from the bottom to the top, or the top to the bottom, without dying. There's always something in the way, and you've got, again, limited ammunition. This one, I think you've got like a little ray gun and some bombs you can just sort of roll across the floor, but you've got limited numbers of them. So if you run out, you're in trouble. And little traps and unfair deaths. You're walking along, all of a sudden a spike comes out of somewhere and pokes you. And you're thinking, well, how am I to know that? Well, you have to memorise it, muscle memory they call it, or map it out. That's what I have to do in the old days. You sit there with bits of paper and draw maps so you know where you've got to go. Sounds complicated, I know, but that's how people used to game back in the day. So Rick Dangerous 2, very happy to have that one because I love that. I love Rick Dangerous 2. I said, I had a Commodore 64 and we just played it for ages. Great stuff. So that's Kixx. We're going to go to Virgin. Okay, Virgin, 2 games from Virgin. And again, I'm thrilled to have these games. One, again, is on this very important list to have. I pulled that down. No, all right, yeah. Very important list to have. And this other one is a classic arcade conversion. So we can't go wrong. We cannot possibly get wrong with these, can we? I hope not. First one up then. This is the Virgin has this Tronics label. So it might be the sort of Mastertronics, I'm guessing, possibly. It's got very similar font. Golden Axe. Golden Axe strikes again. Another copy of Golden Axe from my collection. Well, we've got it 90% in the One magazine, 96% in Zap. And again, they're doing you the old... These may not be the screenshots on the back for your system, but you're never quite sure, are you? They're not the Spectral ones, that's for sure. But yeah, just Golden Axe. Love Golden Axe. So I'm really pleased that was in there. Even if it is the re-release. I mean, yeah, people prefer the big boxes and the dual cases. But now I'm just thrilled to have that. Brilliant. And then, this one might quite surprise you. This is quite highly regarded. I remember playing a demo of this on the Amiga and I wasn't overly impressed despite being a massive fan of this particular series it's based upon. But I was thrilled to find out this is actually very well thought of on the Amstrad. So in that case, I actually enjoy playing it. And this is Monty Python's Flying Circus. So I'm massive. I very much enjoy Monty Python's Flying Circus and the films. And it is like Monty Python's. It's got that art, the art look from the Terry Gilliam cartoons, which used to pop up in it, and it is a bit off the wall and a bit weird and a bit strange. But yeah, I'm quite looking forward to playing that properly. Never played the full version before. I always felt the demo was disappointing. I thought there's not enough in that thing, even perhaps get it on a copy or something. Not that anybody I knew had a copy, so that was it. There was a little bit of a crack in the case at the back there as well, so that mainly replacing, but might just be able to see that there. But anyway, so yeah, Monty Python's Flying Circus, so there we go. So that's, where are we now? That's 14. You're keeping count at home, I hope you are. Let's have a quick swizz. And so we're on to the last lot, and the last lot, well, what are we talking about? We're talking Hit Squad. Oh, yes we are. The bells are ringing. People are running in from all parts of the country. Hit Squads, for those of you who don't know 8-bit collecting, was the budget label for Ocean Software, who were probably the biggest well-known software house back then. They used to convert all the big films into games and had the big Tato arcade conversions, Operation Wolf, New Zealand Story, Cabal, all the big massive names. They used to release loads of compilations, even though some of the stuff in there wasn't theirs originally. They were just massive. And the Hit Squad was their budget label for their titles, but also from other systems like Activision, or developers like Activision, Imagine, etc., etc. And they just became very, very tough because people like the logo, people like the look, how they look on the shelf. They're all very, very uniform. They're great, and the Hit Squad's collecting just like through the roof. Some of the games are ridiculously expensive to pick up. People have had nervous breakdowns to pick these up, and if they haven't, they will do. And so, you know, Hit Squads are either dirt cheap or bionically expensive. And again, I'm not sure what I know. I know the value of one of these in here is quite expensive because that's what we were talking about at the time. I don't know whether some of these are not highly valued, so I don't know. In fact, I think apart from, in fact, I will do those probably. Where are we? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'll do those first because we know we've got a vague idea what these were worth, but the other ones we haven't. So I'll give you that one. So the first one we got, and Nick actually thought it was worth a lot more than it was, which is still worth a decent amount. But I think he was way. He did actually say, "Oh, yeah, I got that wrong." I said, "You didn't you?" This is Robocop on the Hit Squad on the Amstrad. And a lot of people say this is much better than the Spectrum. Spectrum users they think their version is the best one, but Amstrad owners seem to think their version is the best one. And nobody seems to think the Commodore 64 is the best one because there's a bug in it, I think. I never got that very far because it's rock hard. The Amiga version was dead easy once I worked out what I was actually doing. But yeah, so this is, I know, is a reasonably sought after pricey-ish title, not mega expensive, but pricey title. So it's nice to have that one there. There was, and I'm just going to look at this now. The other one I think we said was possibly price-wise was Altered Beast. I think that one was not quite as, but what he could find. Something he couldn't find. That's why I said we couldn't agree, you know, a fixed price because we just didn't know what the value of some of these were. So Altered Beast, which it depends. I don't mind the Mega Drive version. It just doesn't excite me a great deal. I played the Commodore 64 version. It's absolutely terrible. So I'm not sure that's going to be. But yeah, so Altered Beast. There we go. So that's that. Now the rest of these, I've got no idea what these are worth. To be honest with you, I don't really care. It's just nice having all these. So we got in the wrong case, sadly, but a game I wanted. I saw this. Oh yes, I must get this. I've got this so many times in my collection. Rainbow Islands, but I've not got it on the Amstrad. So I'm delighted to have this. It's a colourful game at the best of times. So this is going to be. I'll need my sunglasses on to play this on the Amstrad. But there we go. If you've not played Rainbow Island, it's one of the great puzzle platform games of all time. The sequel to Bubble Bobble. Is it better than Bubble Bobble? Interesting question. But I would certainly say it's one of the great conversions where very, very few of them came out duff. And when I say duff, I mean like, you know, they were bad conversions. They weren't. They were all great. That, because it's in the wrong case, is really struggling to fit back in there. There we go. What we've got next, a game I played on the Commodore 64 and the Amiga. I absolutely loved it. It's a classic on those systems. I'm hoping it'll be the same on this one. This is IK Plus, International Karate Plus. Got a magic theme tune on it. On other systems. Again, it's quite a colourful game. It's got some differing screenshots on the back, and we've got a Spectrum screenshot there in the top right there. It's a bit monochrome. You can tell because it's well drawn, but there's no colouring to it. But yeah, great fun. One of the great games. Really, really good fun to play. That two-player game, brilliant. I really enjoyed doing that. So that's good. What have we got next? We've got a game again. I only ever played this game on the 64. I've never played any of the other games. I haven't got many of them, but I've only played it on Commodore 64. There's a gameplay video on my channel. It's Wonderboy. So there we go. Not what I know a huge amount about. It was not. I didn't particularly. I wasn't overly enamoured by the Commodore 64 version, so I'm not sure whether that's just because it's It looks like a completely different game to the rest of the series. But I really want to play the other games. I'd like to get. I've got some on the Mega Drive Mini. I've got Dragon's Trap on the Game Gear. I'd like to play Wonderboy in Monsterland and the other ones on the Master System as well. But they are quite pricey, about 20 to 30 quid each. So that'll suffice for now anyway. So Wonderboy, done all to Beast. This one here. Now this is the game again I played on the Amiga. Yeah, played the Amiga, and I think it's from the Ninja Gaiden universe. I may be wrong. It looked like it should be anyway. And this is Shadow Warriors, which is a nice little game. I enjoyed playing it. I'm not sure how it's going to translate to the Amstrad, but it was quite slow on the Amiga, but I used to love it. Me and a friend of mine, I used to love the start. It was great. The instructions of that game were superb. So there we go, Shadow Warriors. But it's nice to have that one. There were a couple of games that had to get left behind. There was a copy of Chase HQ which was loose, no box or anything for it, which is a real shame. And the WWF. Now I know that's probably a lot. That is quite a hard one to get. Sadly, it only had the inlay, and the inlay was destroyed. There's no tape for it. I checked the other box, it wasn't there, and it wasn't actually a case for it. So the tape had gone missing, the box wasn't there, and the inlay it was fairly destroyed. And I know that's quite hard to get. So I was quite gutted at that one. Probably in a way quite happy, because that might push the price up to something I wasn't prepared to pay for it, which is a real shame. Because I don't usually come across things like that, so it would have been quite nice to have had that one. This one I love because I love quizzes. Someone told me it's not an uncommon game to get for the hit squads. I'm quite surprised. Trivial Pursuit. And I was playing this on the I played it on the Commodore 64 gameplay on my channel from years ago. I was playing this on the Master System a couple of nights ago, and that was great fun. Sat there absolutely loving it. I think that was by a completely different developer. But yeah, this is Trivial Pursuit. You play Trivial Pursuit, you know what it is. Except these questions are going to be from about 1987. I know how old it is because when playing the Master System one of the answers was the Soviet Union. So you really need to know your history. But yeah, I like a bit of Trivial Pursuit. I'm not going on. Next one up here. This is a film conversion, and I suppose Ocean they got a little bit lazy. They got a hit a format of doing games based on films. And then they sort of repeat themselves. It became, everything became a generic platformer. So I know it's a terrible film, but I know the game was meant to be quite good on some systems. This is Hudson Hawk. So that is one I don't think I've owned anywhere else. I think I only even played Hudson Hawk because I'm obviously been a huge film fan back in the day. I know it's an absolute turkey of a film, and I know I've seen it a couple of times. Richard E. Grant is terrible in this film, absolutely awful. So I don't know what the game's like. I never actually played it. So yeah, when Bruce Willis was good and had hair of his own. So Hudson Hawk. So I've got no idea what that's like. 2 left to go. This one is an oldie. Probably might be one of the oldest games actually in here. And it's an absolute beast of a game. I don't mean that in a good way. It's Green Beret. It is an absolute pig of a game. If you're not watching in the UK, this is more commonly known as Russian Attack on the NES in other countries, based on the coin-op. But yeah, it's just a ridiculously difficult game. It's on so many different compilations of things. It's impossible not to come across it. But it's brutal. Brutal is probably the word I used to describe it. I think there's gameplay on my channel about this one as well. And I know somebody else was trying to play it the other day. I was watching, and they got about as far as I did. I think Retrobait may have played this ages ago and didn't get very far on the Commodore 64 either. It's a brutal game, absolutely brutal. And that's it. And then the final game I've got in here, I've got a feeling when I start doing Commodore Corner, it won't be too long before I come across Green Beret again. I can't say I'm going to do any better. And this one here always appears on Ocean compilations. And you wonder why, because you never actually, I don't think, was it ever released as a standalone game? I think it was. But it's like yore Kung Fu. Yore Kung Fu always got stuck on extra bonus game, yore Kung Fu. Or Shaolin's Road was another one as well. This is probably the one that came about more often. Again, I've got no idea. I think I never actually played it. And this is Mikey, which puts you in high school, I think. And it's an old Konami game. I think it's a series of mini games and things like that. Fantastic arcade conversion of this #1 coin-op favourite. That's not the words of any computer magazine at all. It's actually the words of the Hit Squad on the back. But there you go. So there's Mikey. And then that's the last one. So yes, those 10 Hit Squads altogether. So actually gets my Hit Squad collection up to the total of 10, which is great. So we're off and running. I've got many. You see my Commodore 64 collection. I must do a recap of my Spectrum Hit Squads as well, because I've got quite a few in that. Probably, I think it's the biggest one of the 3 I've got. But I'll just show you those in all their glory. There we go. So yeah, like, I won't reveal what I paid for it, because, like I said, I've got to be fair to Nick, who sold it to me. He's told me what he paid for it. I'm happy, very happy with what I paid for it. I think I've got some great games. I know I've got some great games of the system in there, and it will take me a while to get through some of those. So I'm really pleased with it, and I hope you've enjoyed that, because I like to get 8-bit stuff on this channel. Not a lot of people do the old 8-bit stuff. And I know a lot of people who collect for systems, they don't get into the 8-bits because, you know, it's like if you didn't grow up, it's like a Atari 26. If you didn't grow up with this technology, you won't appreciate it. And it's, you know, I'm not, you can't sit here and ram it down people's throats and say you must play these games because they're important. You can play these games however you want. You can do it through emulation. You can buy a C64 Mini and do this Commodore 64 one. You can play them on your phone. You could get a little. You can do it either way, but you can't ignore them. Some of these games have been long gone and forgotten. I dare say a lot of people have forgotten there was a Monty Python game, or there was a sequel to Bomb Jack, or there was a sequel to Strider. And the great shoot, the Z Out and being a great shoot, but Rick Dangerous 2 being a fantastic platformer, etc., etc. So you might forget them. So there's real history there. And it's very important to remember that, because without this sort of stuff, we wouldn't be where we are now. So I understand why some people just can't get into it, and I completely understand. I completely get that. I completely understand it. But I love it. This is nostalgia for me. This is stuff I grew up with, stuff I feel very comfortable being around. And I like doing it the old-fashioned way, pardon the expression. I like, you know, the pain of loading the games the old-fashioned way with the tape. And I know so many people do as well. It is easy to do it different ways, but that's it. So anyway, I hope certain people enjoy that. I hope Amstrad enthusiasts would have enjoyed that. Not usually this one like that. And if any of you enjoyed the tape games, or you just learned about this the first time, I hope you enjoyed that as well. If you have, please don't forget to leave a comment. You please feel free to stick a thumbs up on the video. And you know, there's other stuff in my channel, so you can always have a look around and poke around and see what you think. And if you enjoyed that, don't forget, please subscribe or tick the bell so you'll know that I'll do some more videos. It's great. It helps the channel, gives me a little bit of a boost as well. And if you have enjoyed it, it's the best form of feedback you can possibly get, or give even. Anyway, yeah. So this is the Retro Bear in the Gaming Pantry. So thank you very much indeed for watching. I will see you again very, very soon. But until then, take care. Bye for now.